A routine call turns into a chilling nightmare when a Seattle officer's body cam captures something no one was meant to see. Guns fire, shadows move, but what comes out of that house isn't just a suspect. Watch until the end, because the real horror begins after the shooting stops. Rain tapped steadily against the windshield of the patrol car. The sky hung low, gray and heavy, casting a dim veil over the Seattle streets. Sergeant Miller adjusted his vest and glanced at his partner. They had received the call minutes ago. A barricaded suspect. Armed. Unstable. The address led them to a narrow street lined with moss-covered fences and rusting trash bins. The house stood at the end, its windows blacked out, the front door cracked just enough to suggest something was wrong. Every instinct in Miller's body screamed for caution. The body cam whirred quietly as it recorded every movement. Boots crunched on damp gravel. An eerie silence clung to the scene. The only sound was the soft crackle of the radio and the distant hum of traffic. As they approached the porch, a flicker of movement caught Miller's eye through a side window. A shadow. Then gone. He motioned to his partner. They drew weapons and fanned out, each heartbeat louder than the last. From inside, a voice shouted. Muffled. Panicked. Stay back. Miller's grip tightened. The wood beneath his boots creaked. Suddenly, a deafening crack split the air. A bullet tore through the frame of the front door. Splinters burst across Miller's face. He stumbled back, blinking through the sting of sweat and wood dust. More shots rang out. Rapid. Uncontrolled. The body cam caught it all. The front window shattered, raining glass onto the porch. Inside the house, flashes of light lit up the darkened rooms. Miller dove for cover behind a rusting barbecue grill. His ears rang. The cold metal of his weapon pressed against his palm. Smoke curled out of the doorway. The suspect was screaming now. Something about demons. Something about the end. Miller's partner called out to him, but the words were drowned in the chaos. Another shot exploded from the house. Miller saw his partner collapse. His body twisted unnaturally as he fell. The scream that tore from Miller's throat barely sounded human. He bolted from cover, heart thundering. Aiming. Firing. The door flew open. The suspect emerged. Eyes wild. Face smeared with ash and blood. In his hands, a shotgun. Miller fired. The blast from the suspect's weapon lit the porch in orange flame. Miller felt the heat slice past his cheek. He smelled gunpowder. He smelled blood. And then, silence. The kind that presses down on your chest and steals the air. Miller blinked. His vision swam. The suspect was on the ground. Still. The shotgun rested beside him, smoldering. Miller staggered forward. His boots splashed through broken glass and blood pooling in the porch cracks. His hand trembled as he reached for his radio. His voice cracked when he spoke. Officer down, suspect neutralized. He knelt beside his partner. Eyes open. Unblinking. There was a hole just below the collarbone. Dark. Wide. Breathing shallow. A gurgle escaped his partner's lips. Miller pressed hard against the wound. Stay with me, he said. But the blood kept coming. Warm. Thick. Rain began to fall harder. Washing the porch. Washing the blood. The body cam, still recording, caught Miller's face. Torn between duty and disbelief. His mouth moved, but no sound came out. The suspect's body twitched. Miller snapped his head around. Eyes widened. Was he alive? Was it over? Or just beginning? He stood slowly, weapon trained. The suspect groaned. Low. Guttural. A sound that did not sound like pain, but like laughter. Miller froze. Goosebumps raced across his skin. That laugh. It was not human. He stepped back. The porch creaked again. Only this time it sounded like it was breathing. Inside the house, lights flickered. Then came a voice. Not from the suspect. Not from anyone outside. From deep within the house. Still watching, officer? Miller's blood ran cold. He turned toward the doorway and saw movement. Not a person. Not a shadow. Something else. And it was walking straight toward him. Miller raised his weapon. His hand shook. He tried to focus.
Tried to see.
But the shape in the doorway refused to stay still. It shifted. Bent light. Flickered like heat above fire. The air turned thick. Heavy. Like breathing through water. He backed away, step by step. His boots slipped on the wet wood. A deep hum vibrated through the porch beneath him. Then, the lights on his bodycam glitched. Flashed red. Static burst in his earpiece. Dispatch, do you copy? No response. He tried again. The silence screamed louder than gunfire. The shape was closer now. Miller could hear it breathing. Deep, slow, and wet. Not a man. Not something born. Its eyes opened. 2 points of red. Glowing. Then came the smell.
Rot.
Burnt meat. And something else. Ozone. Like lightning had struck the house itself. Miller fired. 1 shot.
2.
The bullets vanished. No impact. No sound. The shape paused. Then tilted its head. Slowly. Like it was studying him. Miller's breath caught in his throat. His heart pounded against his ribs like fists on a locked door. He stepped back again. His partner still lay motionless behind him.
But now
the suspect's body was gone. The shotgun was still there. But the man vanished. Miller's throat tightened. The shape moved again. Its limbs too long. Its motion wrong. A voice came again.
Soft.
Inside his head. You saw what you should not have seen. He dropped to one knee. His vision spun. Something pressed into his skull like cold fingers. Memories twisted. Names forgotten. Static filled his mind. The bodycam trembled on his chest. Still recording. Still watching. But now it caught only Miller. Kneeling. Alone. As the thing from the house reached for him. Its hand, if it was a hand, hovered inches from Miller's face. The skin was pale, slick, almost translucent. Veins pulsed beneath it like worms. He could not move. His body refused. Muscles locked. Jaw clenched. The cold from its fingers seeped into him. Not on his skin, but inside. Like it touched his spine. His eyes rolled back for a second. Flashes of images. Not memories. Visions. A dark room with no walls. Screams circling in a spiral. A clock ticking backward. Hands crawling from the floor. And then, silence again. The shape whispered, not with a mouth, but with thought. They send you to end what never dies. Miller's had jerked back as if yanked by invisible thread. His mouth opened, and something tried to crawl out of it. His scream died before it left his throat. The porch collapsed behind him. Rain slammed the ground like bullets. The lights in the house snapped on, then burst, one by one, in blinding white flashes. For a second, just a second, the bodycam caught the shape in full.
Tall.
Twisted. Wrapped in something that pulsed like breathing flesh. Eyes not just on its face, but down its arms. Watching. Recording. Just like the camera.
Miller tried to speak.
Tried to say his name. But the sound that came out was not English. It was not human. And from the wreckage of the house, others began to move. Shapes crawling, dragging themselves into the street. Dozens. Maybe more. All with the same eyes. All watching. And the only sound left was the quiet beep of the bodycam. Still recording. Miller turned slowly. His limbs obeyed now. But they no longer felt like his. Each movement was delayed. Like swimming through tar. His vision pulsed in and out of color. Red. Then gray. Then black. The figures poured from the ruins of the house. Thin. Hunched. Limbs bending in ways that defied anatomy. They did not walk. They slithered. They skittered. They glided just above the surface of the ground. Their eyes all locked on Miller. Unblinking. Reflecting the dim streetlights in eerie, mirrored flashes. He raised his weapon again. There was no point, but it gave his hand purpose. One of the things reached the sidewalk. It paused. Its head turned sharply. Not at Miller, but at the camera. It knew that it was being watched. That its face, its presence, was now part of the footage. The one thing they never wanted. Miller stumbled back. He reached for his chest, fingers grasping at the body cam. It was hot, buzzing with static electricity. The image flickered. For a single frame, he saw himself, but his eyes were not his. They were hollow, empty sockets burning faint blue. He was still standing, still breathing, but something else looked through him. Then the streetlights shut off, all at once. Darkness swallowed the block. Only the faint red glow of the camera remained. And in that glow, dozens of faces leaned in.
Close. Curious.
Hungry. One whisper rose from the crowd. Unified. Ancient. Wet and rusted with age. You filmed the door. Now you open it. The last image the camera recorded was Miller's hand reaching out. Not to defend. Not to run. But to welcome. And then the feed cut to black. For 7 hours, the body cam streamed nothing but static. No voices. No motion. Just the hiss of dead air. Then, at 3:17 a.m., the signal returned. But it was not for Miller. The camera had been moved, set on a table, pointed toward a hallway swallowed in shadow. In the background, a shape paced slowly across the frame. Not walking. Floating just above the ground. Its outline blurred, as if reality resisted it. The walls behind it pulsed.
Alive.
Breathing. Covered in a thin film of something wet and gray. And in the corner of the video feed, a timestamp flickered. But it was wrong. The numbers twisted.
Looped.
Spelled out symbols instead of time. Then a voice.
Clear. Cold. Come.
I am not Miller. The words came from behind the camera. From something wearing his uniform. Wearing his voice. Another figure stepped into frame. A woman.
Pale.
Eyes wide. Lips trembling. She looked straight into the lens. Please, she whispered. They kept him. They sent something back. Before she could say more, a hand, too long, too thin, gripped her shoulder. She froze. Her eyes rolled back. She was dragged slowly into the dark. No screams. Only silence. The camera stayed on, recording, waiting. And then, at the very edge of the screen, something leaned in close. So close the lens warped its face. A whisper, barely audible. More will come.
Then, cut.
End of feed. The screen stayed black. Not blank. Black. As if the lens stared into something endless. For several minutes, there was only the faint hum of interference. Then a flicker. A brief flash of movement. It looked like Miller, but thinner. Paler. His eyes too wide. His smile too still. He leaned forward, so close the grain of his skin became visible. Every pore. Every tremble. His mouth moved, but the sound came before the lips did. You watched. So now you know. Behind him, the hallway twisted, became something deeper, lined with doorways, each one pulsing like a heartbeat. Something whispered from each. Voices calling names. Some in English. Some in languages lost long ago. One whispered your name. Miller turned suddenly. His head snapped toward the hallway, as if something had called to him. He stepped into the dark. The camera stayed where it was. Alone. Still recording. But now the frame shook. Slowly, rhythmically, like the house itself had a pulse. Then a shadow passed the lens. No footsteps. No breath. Just presence. The timestamp returned. Still broken. But now it counted upward. Not seconds. Not time. Something else. A quiet clicking sound began. Measured. Mechanical. Like something locking in place. Then, from deep within the hallway, a door opened. The sound was wet, like tearing meat. And from that dark, unseen room, a voice spoke.
Come.
Final. Now we record you. And the camera turned on its own. Toward the viewer. The camera tilted. Slow and deliberate. Its lens focused outward. As if it could see beyond the screen. You could hear it. That faint electric whir of motors adjusting. Glass focusing. Metal flexing. And then, silence again. But not empty. heavy, like something held its breath on the other side. The frame remained steady, pointed forward, dead center. Nothing moved, but the shadows at the edges grew darker,
Thicker.
creeping inward, inch by inch. A faint reflection appeared in the lens, flickering, not from the room it had been in, but from wherever you were. Your space. Your screen. A silhouette stood just behind the camera's view, motionless, waiting. Another click, like a switch flipped far away. The kind you do not notice until it is too late. The voice returned, but this time it was layered. Not one voice, but many, speaking in perfect unison. We see you. The camera feed glitched, not with distortion, but clarity. Too much clarity. Every detail, every pixel, sharper than real life. And then, in a single frame, the video froze, but the shadows kept moving. The screen pulsed once, faintly, and then everything went black, except for a new message, burned faintly into the corner of the screen. Recording uploaded. Then, a quiet knock. Somewhere behind you. Another knock. Louder. Slower. Closer. Not on a door. On something thinner.
Hollow. Like glass.
Like the screen itself. You stare. Holding still. Waiting for it to stop. But it does not. A soft breath fogs the edge of your display. You did not make it. You are not breathing. The knock comes again. This time from the inside. The image flickers. A single frame flashes. A face. Eyes wide. Mouth stretched unnaturally. Smiling without warmth. It looks like Miller. It looks like you. The voice returns. No longer distant. No longer distorted. It is here. Behind your ear. Inside your chest. Do not shut it off. The screen pulses once. A thin, white line cuts across it. It grows. It spreads. Like a crack. Your reflection is gone. Replaced by darkness. And behind that darkness, something leans forward. You cannot look away. Your hands feel cold. Not from fear. From the absence of something that was just there. Then the final message appears. Letter by letter. Slow. Deliberate. You are now being recorded. The screen blinks. And you hear the camera click on. Behind you, the click echoes once.
Clean. Precise.
Then silence settles like dust in an abandoned room. No more knocks. No more voices. Just the hum of stillness. Alive with everything that was left unsaid. The screen fades to black. Not with violence, but with certainty. Somewhere far away. Or impossibly close. A file finishes uploading. A new folder appears. Labeled with your name. Inside it, a single video. Time-stamped. Running. Endless. But you're not watching it. It is watching you.
And now,
The house is quiet. The rain has stopped. Seattle sleeps. But the door Miller opened, the one no one saw, remains ajar. Waiting. Recording. Calling. The Bodycam lies still. Its red light blinking softly. Not as a warning. Not as a threat. But as an invitation. End of recording.